All right, so this is the Oz report for Saturday, June 25th, 2022. And as always, let's start with Plex. All right, Plex this week took a little short-term breather. All right, it went. At least it didn't go up as usual. The short-term trend is downward, but the midterm trend, the 20-day moving average is still pointing upwards. So there's no easing off in the Plex market. It's just continuing to feel pressure from the sub increase. Sub accounts are running out, so people are frantically trying to use Plex to subscribe accounts, or letting them run out. But either way, Plex supply is running low and Plex demand is increasing again. So even though we're seeing a lower overall volume on Plex, it's still trading at a very, very high price. You have to compare that with the large skill injector. If we look at skill farming loss, we're still at around 1.5 billion per account. So large skill injectors are still cheap compared to the Plex price. And that's why large skill injectors have really, really increased in price this week. We're now looking at prices around 780. So 780 for a large skill injector. And even at that price, it's not profitable at all to produce them. So the supply is not necessarily coming from a lot of skill farms, but possibly from players leaving the game, or at least temporarily unsubbing. And so this is not the end of the story. We're probably going to see 800 million large skill injector prices soon. All right. Multiple pilot training certificates, those aren't really that interesting anymore because most of them aren't being traded anymore, but they're directly applied to your account. At this point, public service announcement, I just discussed that on the stream as well. There is the best sale on the EVE store out right now, the 3-month Omega 3-month MCT sale. Now also in the 6-month, 12-month, and 24-month version. Those are the fantastic packs. If that's what you're after, it's a great volume. So you can get it there. That what that has done for sure, or hopefully, is taken a little bit of pressure off of the Plex market, because people are going to take advantage of that sale probably more now that sub prices have increased. So possibly we might see a flattening out of Plex prices. And still, I still think the large skill injector prices are going to go a bit higher. Skill extractors were kind of flat this week, but their volume continues to be down just because skill farming is not as viable. All right. So let's look at the winners. What are the items that increased by at least 10% this week in price, while also trading above 5 billion in value? If you look at the ships, that's the Charon as a freighter, but that's just because it was quite low. The Orthrus is the ship that, in terms of volume and in terms of price, increased the most this week. I am guessing this is due to it being used in various fleets that are going on. As you guys know, I'm definitely not involved in nullsec PvP. Not my cup of tea. But the price increase have been quite significant there. I know the Orthrus is popular in abyssal space, so might be there. I'm not aware of an abyssal arena going on right now, so we'll either way, Orthrus prices right now are very high compared to what they should be if you're looking at the LP trade-in value and the production price. So if you look at the market, they're basically sold out. So yeah. we'll I'll let you guys answer why. I just know orthos prices are way too high right now, and you definitely don't want to buy them. The rest of the increases are mostly moon materials, right? Chromium, hafnium, mercury, scandium, and even some reaction materials, they increased in price quite significantly this week, and that's a good sign. That means that we are seeing production restarting. We're seeing specifically T2 production starting. That's probably related to some of the larger fights and war and the war that is starting again. So that's a good thing, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be that the material is being bought in the forge to be produced in Null for the war, but the more destruction there's going on and the more production there's going on in Null, the less of these excess materials are hitting the market in JITA, and that's why prices are moving in the right direction. That's really cool. Other than that, synthetic synapses are increasing in price. These are used for implants mostly. So I think we've seen some Rapture and some Nirvana implants increasing in market volume this week. Either way, it's a PI good that is used in these implants. So it spikes every once in a while. Right now, it's very high again. So if you have synthetic synapses lying around right now, it's a good time to sell those. Let's look at some of the losers this week. All right. Ships that dropped a lot in price. The bowhead dropped a ton. So the bowhead right now is trading at an incredible 2.4 billion. That's a very cheap bowhead. The production price is even lower. So the production price should be around 1.7 billion or so. So the margin is actually coming down. I mentioned this the last 2 weeks that freighters are still overpriced. Freighters and jump freighters are still overpriced. The prices should be coming down based on their production prices. So the bowhead is doing exactly that. So that's going to be make some people happy that use bowheads in their usual play style to move large amounts of ships. The Raven Navy issue came down in price a lot. And this is now a very good price for a Raven Navy issue, right? Even if you consider the fact that their production price has come down recently in the Siege Green patch, this 550 on a Raven Navy issue is either way you look at it is a good price. It's certainly not profitable to produce them based on the LP BPCs that you could trade for, but I think the direct ship is probably still a good exchange value for LP. So Raven Navy issues cheap. If you need them, consider picking them up. The Worm was overpriced, right? The Worm was overpriced. It has come down quite a bit now from the 110 peak it was at last week. At 100 billion, it's still at 100 million, it's still kind of expensive. The blueprint's about 40 million, production price about 50 million, so that's 90 million. Sounds about right. The Worm has just come down to a normal range, right? Let's see what else we want to talk about. The Gist X-Type large shield booster. Very popular item, Dead Space module that has come down in price significantly. It's very interesting price range. You can put buy orders out for these. You can see there's basically no buy orders out to them, and many people farm these and sell them to buy orders inexplicably. So you can go in there, try to get them for 300 million. It's a good deal. Isotopes, we saw ice increasing in price, presumably because people are speculating there to be a lot of move ops for the new war that is breaking out, or it's either speculation or it's actual demand. We don't know, but this huge spike on the basically the day the war was announced is or the campaign was announced. This price increase a direct response to somebody just picking up a big bunch of or a big part of the market, right? So isotopes, interesting, but that initial push, it didn't really hold. So I think it's mostly speculation that isn't going to be nearly what we saw when there was this big isotope spike due to the PAPI retreat at the end of the last war. Right? Navy cat booster just came down. Noxium, interesting. Noxium is very cheap right now, right? Apparently volume is up, price is down. That just means people are dumping a bunch of this into the market. Apparently in the balance of mineral supply and demand, Noxium is losing out right now, and there's a bit of an oversupply in the market. Noxium mainly low sec, right? Mainly low sec. I think a little bit even in abyssal space, but around 1,000, it's typically a good price to pick this up. If you can speculate on production picking up overall, I think might be a good time to invest into Noxium. Raging gamma filament just got destroyed this week. Last week I said there's this whole cycle with abyssal space where abyssal filaments get really, really expensive, and then they're not profitable to farm anymore because the filament itself, to run the tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, whatever you're running, it makes it unprofitable or not profitable enough. It seems to be that raging gamma filaments just really dropped out of popularity this past week, and now we see prices under 10 million, and that's a great time to pick them up. So that's raging gamma filaments. Good time to do that. Let's look at shortages in the market. So this is items that have less than one trade day available, right? So these are items where the total sum of sell orders in the forge is less than one trade day. These are spiky markets because the supply could run out any day. I'm going to ignore the Gila because the Gila is always on this list. The Gila is just such an efficient market because there's a ton of them entering the market, a ton of them exiting the market, right? But the Golem and the Vargur, quite similarly as well, they are just so popular that right now, the Marauders, that they just fly off the shelf, but they also get produced a lot. They get replaced very quickly. So similar to the Gila, not very exciting, right? The Orthrus we mentioned earlier. The Orthrus is just sold out right now. So this is not something that's usually is. The Orthrus is just sold out. There's not that many left in the market. They all got picked up. So if you can trade in for them right now, or if you have them lying around right now, is the time to throw those in the market because you're gonna make a good amount of money, right? Shortages we also see in Moongoo. I just mentioned that earlier. Chromium is fantastic. I mean, Chromium is the price is back to 9,000. If you're like me and you have a ton of Moongoo lying around from past years trading where it was just so low after the compression changes, then right now is the time to look at your Moongoo stacks and see if you can't make some money. Chromium recovered very nicely and the supply is gone. Hafnium recovered nicely, supply is gone. Even Morphite, there's quite a bit that has exited the market. So even Morphite is in a place right now where it might be getting ready to spike, right? Neodymium, we haven't seen that rise in a while. Very good. So this is all good news if you're holding large stockpiles of raw materials, right? There's some the evaporate deposits, silicates. Those are things that go into the components for faction ships, like specifically everything that was changed in the Siege Green patch in May. those are rising in price and are not very available in the market. That is also indicating that people are not only producing tier 2 more, but they're also producing these components to produce faction ships, to produce battleships. So overall, we're just seeing a good week in the market, a healthy week in the market that is making me hopeful for the next weeks, not only of trading but also for the economy overall. Right. I think last but not least, let's look at high volume items. So these are items that are trading at least 20% higher in terms of volume than the yearly average. Right. These are very popular items right now. So there are some items like the dual gigapulse laser 2 that no idea why, but that's probably just going to be doctrine related or something. But if you're looking at things like dysprosium, hey, that's a moon material. Dysprosium right now rising in price for the last week and trading very much over yearly average. That's very good. Federation Navy Fleet Captain insignias trading at a very high volume. Mercury is trading at a very high volume. Nitrogen isotopes, I mentioned earlier, isotopes overall are hot right now because people are speculating on move ops, on larger move ops due to the larger battles that are going on right now. Self-harmonizing power cores are also big, right? They are used the biggest chunk for capital core temperature regulator blueprints, right? These are the components for capital construction, right? So that's a good indicator of capital construction going. That's not the only place they're going, but this price rising makes me hopeful that that overall there's a large demand for this P4 PI good, and that is pointing towards, again, good production values. So good week in the market. I'm hopeful. Things are rising again. I made 50 billion of large scale injectors. So Oz is happy. And that's it for the Oz report. We're going to jump into the Oz rankings in a second here, where today we're going to cover the 50 largest subcap ship markets in the Forge. So going to take a quick break and then we're going to be back with the Oz ranking. See you guys next week.